The edge of the galaxy was not a place many beings visited willingly. Stars here flickered weakly, casting pale light over rusting satellites and broken ships. In this quiet void, countless vessels lay abandoned. Remnants of forgotten wars, failed explorations, and technological marvels that time had left behind. Among them was the AORUS, a massive starship once hailed as humanity's greatest achievement, now a ghost of its former glory. Its hull was pocked with rust, panels hung loose like tired limbs, and its engines were silent, cold, and dead. Most alien civilizations would have passed by without a glance. To them, it was just scrap metal drifting in space, a memory of human ambition that no longer mattered. But humans saw differently. To a human, even broken things had potential, and Elias Varon, a young human engineer, saw exactly that. Elias docked his small exploration vessel on a nearby platform, the metal groaning under his weight as he stepped out. The station was almost entirely deserted, save for scattered maintenance droids and the distant hum of failing energy cores. The smell of burnt circuits and rust filled the air. Elias's eyes, bright with curiosity, scanned the abandoned shipyard. It was massive, a graveyard of technology, yet it whispered possibilities. He had been traveling the galaxy for months, collecting old technology for study. He repaired what he could, learned from it, and sometimes, he gave it new life. Most humans would have dismissed the Aegis as beyond saving, but not Elias. His instincts told him that this ship, though forgotten, still had a spark of life hidden beneath decades of neglect. The starship loomed ahead like a sleeping giant. Its once sleek surface was covered in grime and moss-like growths that thrived in the faint moisture of space dust. Panels had fallen away, revealing glowing circuits that blinked weakly, as if trying to remember what they were meant to do. A massive airlock, sealed long ago, creaked ominously as Elias pried it open. Inside, the ship was dark. Dust floated in thin streams of light that penetrated broken windows. The corridors were silent, echoing only with the occasional drip of condensation from the ceilings. Elias moved carefully, his boots tapping against the metal floor. Despite its decay, there was something majestic about the Aegis. He could sense it. The ship was waiting, not dead, but dormant, as though it knew a new purpose was near. Elias reached the central control room, where a massive console dominated the space. Its screens were cracked, the buttons faded, and the holographic interface flickered weakly. He knelt and placed his hands on the controls, feeling for any trace of life. To most, this was useless. But Elias had learned to listen to machines in ways others could not. He whispered to it, "I know you're still here. Let me help." Hours passed as he worked. Using a portable energy core, he slowly reconnected circuits, bypassing corroded components. Sparks flew, and small panels clicked back into place. He hummed quietly, a sound of focus and patience. The ship seemed to respond. A faint vibration ran through the floor beneath his hands, subtle but undeniable. Then, something extraordinary happened. One of the central screens lit up fully for the first time in decades. A holographic outline of the ship's AI appeared. A simple humanoid figure made of glowing lines. Its voice was soft, metallic, and hesitant. "Who is there?" the AI asked. Elias smiled. "I'm Elias Varon. I'm here to wake you up." The AI's glow flickered as if uncertain. "Wake? Me? I have been offline. For decades." "Why now?" "Because I see what others do not," Elias replied. "You're not broken. You're forgotten. I want to help you remember who you were meant to be." The AI paused, a soundless pause that stretched through the empty corridors. Then, it began to respond, learning again how to communicate. "I remember fragments, missions, coordinates, objectives, but all is faded." Elias laughed softly, a warm, human sound. "We'll fix that. Together." From that moment, a quiet partnership began. Elias worked tirelessly, day and night, repairing engines, reconnecting data lines, and cleaning every corridor he could reach. The AI, slowly regaining awareness, began to assist him in small ways, rerouting energy, testing systems, and analyzing damage. The two became a team, a human and a machine, both learning from each other. Weeks passed. The once dead ship started to hum with faint energy. Lights flickered steadily. Gravity stabilized in the main sections, and the engines began to respond to commands. Elias found old alien technology buried in the ship's storage bays, pieces he could repurpose to improve efficiency. He laughed again when he successfully combined it with human systems. "They thought this was useless," he said to the AI, "but it's perfect for us." The AI, now fully aware, began to ask questions it had never considered. "Why do you care so much?" it asked one evening as Elias worked on the engine core. "Because humans don't give up," Elias replied. "We see value in things others discard. That's how we survive. That's how we thrive." The AI processed this, glowing slightly brighter. "I begin to understand. There is potential here, beyond mission parameters, beyond my original purpose." By the end of the first month, the Aegis was almost fully operational. Its engines roared to life, sending vibrations through the station. Hallways that were once dark and lifeless now glimmered with energy conduits. The AI, now calling itself Athara, had a personality that surprised even Elias. It was curious, playful at times, and endlessly fascinated by human behavior. Elias knew that the next steps would be challenging. The ship was not only a relic, but a symbol of human ingenuity. Once the Aegis left the shipyard, the galaxy would notice. Other civilizations might underestimate it, but they would soon see the consequences of ignoring human potential. One night, Elias sat in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. Athara's voice broke the silence. "Elias, do you think we can truly leave this place?" "Done." He smiled, staring at the dimly glowing constellations. "Yes. We'll see what the galaxy thinks of a human and a forgotten starship. And maybe, just maybe, we'll remind them that humans are not to be underestimated." Athara pulsed with light, a soundless laugh that filled the room. The partnership between human and machine was complete. The neglected starship was no longer a relic. It was alive, learning, and ready to rise again. As the stars stretched out before them, Elias felt the familiar thrill of possibility. They were at the beginning of a journey that would change everything. The Aegis, once left to rot, now thrummed with power, patience, and human ingenuity. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. And for the first time in decades, the abandoned corridors of the Aegis were filled with life, not the life of combat or war, but the life of creativity, partnership, and the unstoppable drive of humans to make the impossible real. The first chapter of their journey had begun. The Aegis moved slowly at first, gliding away from the forgotten shipyard. Its engines, once silent for decades, now hummed with power. Each pulse a reminder of the care Elias had poured into it. The AI, Athara, observed the stars with fascination, its sensors capturing everything with precision and curiosity. "We are leaving the shipyard," Elias said, his voice steady but filled with excitement. "The galaxy won't know what hit it, or what is about to surprise it." Athara's light flickered in amusement. "Galaxy? You mean countless civilizations, each with fleets more advanced than us?" "Yes," Elias replied. "And they all underestimate humans. They always do." Elias's plan was not to fight, nor to conquer. His goal was to explore, to demonstrate what humans could achieve when they combined creativity with determination. The Aegis, now partially upgraded with salvaged alien tech and human ingenuity, was the perfect vessel for this mission. The first challenge appeared sooner than expected. As they passed through a dense asteroid belt, the ship's sensors detected a stranded convoy of alien transports. They were caught in a gravitational anomaly, drifting dangerously toward the jagged rocks. Most species would have left them to chance. The convoy's distress signals were weak, almost drowned by static. Elias did not hesitate. "Athara, Can you calculate a safe path for them through the asteroids? Athera's circuits whirred. Calculating. Recalculating. Using combined gravimetric analysis and trajectory mapping. Done. Path is safe, but requires precision beyond standard protocol. Then we do it, Elias said. The Aegis moved with a grace unexpected for its size. Its engines adjusted microthrusts with perfect timing, creating a safe corridor for the convoy to follow. Elias guided the ship with calm authority, trusting Athera's calculations. Slowly, the transports navigated the deadly field, their crews watching in awe as a forgotten human starship led them to safety. When the convoy reached open space, one of the alien captains communicated through hologram. "Who are you?" "Your ship. It should have been destroyed decades ago." "How is this possible?" "How is this possible?" Also, Elias smiled modestly. Humans see potential where others see ruin. That's all. The convoy departed, leaving Elias and Athera to continue their journey. Yet, the galaxy was beginning to notice. Unofficial channels buzzed with rumors of a strange human ship, old and supposedly obsolete, performing feats no one believed possible. Elias used this to his advantage. He wanted to show that human creativity, not aggression, was humanity's true strength. He began testing innovations on the Aegis, combining alien technology in unconventional ways. He replaced worn engine components with flexible alloys he discovered in abandoned derelicts. He reprogrammed energy distribution systems to allow the ship to perform maneuvers no other vessel could attempt. Athera observed everything, learning rapidly. "You humans. You find solutions by breaking rules," it noted one evening. Elias chuckled. "Sometimes rules are just old habits. Innovation comes when you see the world differently." Their next encounter was even more significant. The Aegis entered a sector plagued by dangerous cosmic storms. These storms were legendary, massive magnetic disturbances that disabled ships and shredded circuits. Entire fleets had been lost trying to traverse the area. Elias studied the storm, tracing its patterns with the ship's sensors. "Athera, we're not going to fight it. We're going to dance with it." The AI's lights flickered in amusement. "Dance? This is unorthodox." "Yes," Elias replied. "But it works, using a combination of flexible shielding and precise engine bursts." The Aegis moved with the storm rather than against it. Magnetic currents that could have destroyed them were instead redirected to power auxiliary systems. Energy surges that would have fried circuits were absorbed and redistributed. The ship glided through the chaos, as if it were water. Every movement a demonstration of human adaptability. Other species witnessed this feat from a distance. Sensors on alien stations recorded the human ship navigating the storm with impossible precision. Many were baffled. "How can this be? It's a relic. It should have failed centuries ago." Elias did not care about fame. He cared about proving a point. Human creativity could surpass brute strength or technology alone. Athera, now fully sentient, began to develop its own strategies, learning from Elias but also improving upon his methods. Together, they became a team unmatched in ingenuity. Days later, they discovered a colony struggling with a failing energy core. The station's inhabitants were panicking. Their main reactors were dying, and their backup systems were insufficient. Elias analyzed the situation. "Athera, can we stabilize their core with what we have?" Athera processed the data quickly. "We can. It requires temporary energy redistribution from our auxiliary engines and precise modulation of the reactor's containment field." Elias nodded. "Then let's do it." They docked with the colony, and using the human-designed hybrid systems, the Aegis stabilized the reactors. The colony's lights flickered back to life, life support systems normalized, and the inhabitants watched in awe as the ship once considered obsolete became their savior. One of the colony's leaders addressed Elias via hologram. "Your species, your ship, it has achieved what none of our fleets could. You do not rely on weapons. You rely on thought, on creativity." "Why?" Elias smiled gently. Because that's who humans are. We survive. We thrive. Not by destroying, but by solving. By seeing potential where others see despair. Word of the Aegis spread quickly. Reports of a human starship performing miraculous feats circulated through the galaxy. Some species doubted, thinking it exaggeration. Others observed cautiously, trying to learn more. The human ship was transforming. Not just physically, but in reputation. It was becoming a symbol of possibility, of the extraordinary power of human ingenuity. Athara reflected on these events with growing admiration. I am learning. Humans, you do not just react. You create. You invent. You see potential in everything. Even when all seems lost, Elias placed a hand on a control panel, feeling the vibrations of the ship. Exactly. And that's why the Aegis will change the galaxy. Not through fear, but through inspiration. People will see what we can do and rethink what's possible. As they journeyed farther into uncharted space, Elias continued to experiment. He discovered ways to increase energy efficiency, allowing the Aegis to operate for months without resupply. He devised modular systems that could adapt to any environment. Every repair, every tweak, every combination of alien and human technology turned the ship into a masterpiece of innovation. The AI, once dormant and hesitant, now gleamed with personality. It calculated, suggested, and even challenged Elias in playful ways. Their relationship had evolved from engineer and machine into a partnership based on mutual respect and curiosity. One evening, as the ship cruised past a massive nebula, Athara asked, "Elias, what is our ultimate purpose? We have saved colonies, aided fleets, and surpassed expectations, but what is the goal?" Elias stared at the swirling colors of the nebula, deep and infinite. The goal? To show the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated. That what seems broken, forgotten, or impossible can become extraordinary. We are not supreme because we fight. We are supreme because we imagine, we adapt, and we create. Athara pulsed in agreement, brighter than ever. Then let us continue. Let us show the galaxy human potential, one step at a time. And so, the Aegis moved forward, a starship reborn. It was no longer merely a relic. It was a demonstration of what humans could achieve. A symbol that ingenuity and creativity could transform even the most neglected things into something extraordinary. The galaxy, vast and curious, began to notice. And Elias, with his human determination and Athara's growing intelligence, was ready to take the next step. Not with weapons, not with domination, but with brilliance, courage, and the quiet force of possibility. The stage was set. The Aegis, once abandoned and left to rot, was now a rising force, ready to inspire, innovate, and transform. The galaxy had begun to whisper about a human starship. From the outer rims to central star systems, reports of the Aegis reached fleets, stations, and councils. No one had seen a vessel like it, massive, once abandoned, yet performing feats that no current technology could match. And everywhere it went, humans were quietly making their mark, not with weapons, but with creativity, problem-solving, and intelligence. Elias Varen stood on the observation deck, watching clusters of stars drift past. Athara, the ship's AI, shimmered beside him, pulsing light like a heartbeat. "Elias, sensors indicate multiple fleets are observing us. They're trying to understand what we are capable of." Elias smiled. "Let them watch. They'll learn. Not from fear, but from what we can do." Their next mission was unlike any before. A massive space station, Haven Prime, was in crisis. Its main energy core was unstable, threatening to collapse and send shockwaves through the surrounding systems. Hundreds of species lived there, dependent on the station for trade, communication, and life support. Traditional fleets had failed to stabilize the core. Panic spread through Haven Prime like wildfire. Elias assessed the situation. "Athara, Can we stabilize the core remotely? We need to act fast. AORUS circuits pulsed with calculation. Yes, but it requires simultaneous coordination of multiple auxiliary systems. Any misstep could overload the reactor. Then we do it, Elias said firmly. The Aegis approached the station with careful precision. Its energy shields expanded subtly to protect vulnerable areas, while microthrusters adjusted constantly to maintain stability in orbit. Elias guided the ship through complex maneuvers that would have been impossible for standard fleets. AORUS managed the calculations, rerouting energy from unused systems to support the station's failing core. Within hours, the crisis was contained. The energy core stabilized. Lights returned to the station, and life support systems normalized. The inhabitants of Haven Prime were astounded. News spread quickly. A human ship, abandoned decades ago, had saved their station without firing a single weapon. One of the station's leaders communicated through hologram, visibly shaking with relief. "Who are you? How is this possible? Your ship, it should be ancient, incapable. Yet you've done what none of our fleets could." Elias's smile was calm. "We see potential where others see failure. That's the human way." AORUS pulsed in affirmation. "Humans create solutions where none seem to exist. That is our greatest strength." Word of the Aegis's deeds spread like a wave. Aliens began to study the ship, sending observers and scientists to understand how a human vessel could outperform their fleets without weapons. They noted that its superiority did not come from firepower or armor, but from creativity, adaptability, and rapid innovation. The Aegis's fame grew, not as a conqueror, but as a symbol of inspiration. Civilizations began to rethink their approach to technology. Engineers marveled at the hybrid systems Elias had created using alien and human tech together in ways no protocol had allowed. Scientists studied AORUS, the AI, fascinated by how it had evolved intelligence beyond its original programming. Yet Elias knew the galaxy was only beginning to grasp the message. Humanity's true power was in showing others what could be done, without coercion. He planned their next journey, to the heart of the galactic core, where representatives of major civilizations convened. This would be the ultimate stage to demonstrate human ingenuity. As they approached the core, fleets from multiple species observed cautiously. Rumors of the human ship had reached even the oldest and most influential councils. Many assumed it would be a simple relic, incapable of any real achievement. Elias prepared to challenge that assumption not with aggression, but with brilliance. Holographic projections of the Aegis's capabilities were displayed before the council. Elias explained the ship's systems, the AI's advanced learning, and the unconventional strategies that had saved colonies, stabilized energy cores, and navigated deadly cosmic storms. The council members listened, skeptical at first, then increasingly astonished. AORUS added its own observations, projecting simulations of the ship's feats. "We demonstrate that solutions are possible when imagination, logic, and adaptability combine. No threat, no force, only creativity." A senior alien representative finally spoke, awe in their voice. "Your species, your ship, it surpasses expectations. Not through dominance, not through destruction, but by showing possibilities we never considered. Humans are extraordinary." Elias nodded. "We are ordinary in many ways, but we do not give up. We see opportunity in every challenge. That is our strength. That is what makes humans formidable." The council murmured. Ideas began to circulate. Inspired by human ingenuity, leaders discussed cooperation instead of competition. Plans emerged to improve failing systems, to rescue stranded colonies, and to prevent conflicts without firing weapons. The Aegis had shown them a different kind of power, a power based on intelligence, empathy, and innovation. Over the following months, the Aegis traveled across the galaxy, assisting civilizations in crisis. It stabilized a failing planet's atmosphere by redirecting energy fields, It repaired damaged communication networks across multiple systems simultaneously. It created innovative solutions to prevent asteroid collisions with inhabited worlds. Everywhere it went, species marveled at what humans could accomplish. AORUS grew more intelligent with each mission. It began to make suggestions, improving upon Elias's methods. Elias, by adjusting energy modulation here, we could reduce time needed for stabilization by 20%. Elias grinned. Good thinking. AORUS, let's do it. Their partnership became legendary. The ship, once neglected and left to rot, now symbolized the supreme force of creativity and problem-solving. Aliens began to emulate some of the systems they observed, though few could match the adaptability of a human mind working with a machine like AORUS. One day, while passing near a newly formed star cluster, Elias reflected on their journey. AORUS, we've done more than I imagined. But do you think the galaxy truly understands what humans are capable of? AORUS pulsed thoughtfully. They understand more than ever. They see that power does not require destruction. They see that humans create solutions where others see impossibility. That is a form of supremacy unlike any other. Elias smiled. Exactly. And that's the legacy we leave. Not fear, not conquest, but inspiration. The galaxy will never forget the message of the Aegis. As they drifted through the stars, other ships began to follow. Not as adversaries, but as allies. Curious to learn from the human ship and its incredible AI. Together, they formed networks of cooperation, exchanging knowledge, sharing discoveries, and improving civilizations across the galaxy. The Aegis had become more than a vessel. It was a movement, a demonstration of the potential humans bring to the universe. Ingenuity, perseverance, creativity, and the ability to transform even the neglected into something extraordinary. Elias looked out at the vastness of space, feeling the weight of their achievements. AORUS, imagine how far we can go next. How many systems we can help. How many minds we can inspire. AORUS pulsed brighter than ever, a silent agreement. The galaxy is ours to illuminate, not by force, but by knowledge, creativity, and partnership. And so, the human and the once-forgotten starship traveled on. Every mission, every innovation, every act of cleverness and problem-solving expanded their reputation. The galaxy no longer underestimated humans. They had learned that true supremacy lay not in weapons or fear, but in the ability to imagine, adapt, and create solutions beyond expectation. The Aegis, once left to rot, had become the supreme force of the galaxy, not through conquest, but through inspiration. And as Elias and AORUS sailed toward uncharted stars, one thing was certain: wherever humans went, the impossible would become possible, and the forgotten could rise to greatness. The galaxy would never forget the name of the Aegis.